Good day. My name is Lois Kemp. I'm the marketing manager here at Infinite, and I'm excited to have a conversation with my colleague AJ Sina today about cost optimization. Specifically, what we're talking about is how to save money with global sourcing strategies for your products. There are a lot of different ways to improve product cost, such as value analysis, redesign, value among engineering, among others. But today, specifically, we're going to focus on how a global supply chain can really help you improve product profitability. AJ, welcome.
Thank you, Luis.
AJ, I know that you are a vice president here in digital engineering services. So I thought you could talk to folks about the importance of a global supply chain. I mean, how big is the problem? Why are folks really specifically wanting to tackle this? And why is it a priority now? If you could get into that, I'd really appreciate it.
Thanks, Luis. Hi, folks. This is a very important topic and key focus for Infinite, wherein we are seeing a lot of things have changed during pandemic. So the way things were working prior to pandemic versus now, there is a lot of change here. And let me give you some data points here. Like for example, the Economist reported that nearly 87% of the manufacturing, management folks or the leadership teams are, concerned about the global supply chain, and this is either on top of their mind or one of the top three agendas for their
Wow.
organization. Yeah,
Top three, that's pretty important.
correct. So, and the second thing is that there is a survey again by Deloitte, which talks about that global supply chain not only results in cost saving benefits, but also provides access to the newer markets and the customers. And another fact, basically from BCG, is that nearly 60% of global consumption by 2025 is going to come from emerging markets, right? So there is a lot of growth happening in those markets. So in crux, basically, not only global supply chain is important from cost saving perspective, but it provides enhanced resilience, increased agility and adaptability into global markets. It provides to access to the specialized resources and can enable the doors for growth in emerging markets as well, right? So from that perspective, this is really a time wherein all the manufacturing OEMs need to basically have their focus, which already is evident from these stats, and hence we would like to delve deeper in this topic today.
Yeah, and I think folks think about it. There's clearly near-term value and gain, as you talked about, in terms of lowering product profitability. But you pointed out a really important thing that I hadn't really thought about, which is the medium-term growth potential and how it's opening doors. So it's like a win-win. So you get
Right.
both a near-term, short-term gain as well as a mid-term opening of doors. But I guess if
Correct.
it was easy, other folks would have done it and they would have done it sooner. So can you just spend a moment and talk to us about what are some of the challenges in achieving this?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is where basically, as you are seeing the facts on the slide as well, from various factors basically which affect. Right. So everybody is wishing to have this global supply chain, knowing the benefits and everything. But at the same time, the challenges are having a very limited access to the supplier data, right? And the supplier data itself is not like today's, you want to go to a restaurant and you have excellent reviews available and choose that and you are mostly set, right? So the supplier's data is not organized, right? So it is something which needs a little more domain touch for a person to understand what is the problem statement here and what you want to do, right? And then create that match in terms of capacity, in terms of the volume, in terms of quality requirements and all that, right? Second, most challenging thing is basically, having your resources and accessibility into all these geos, right? So the having your own personnel becomes a challenge sometimes, and that is where having some of the bigger organizations which are able to support in a specialized manner, bringing that domain expertise is something which is helpful. So those are two, I think, would be probably the most challenging things, because of which, while the companies want to, but they are not able to reap the benefits of this.
That's interesting, and that's helpful. I wonder if you could start talking to folks about some examples, because I know that I always intellectually understand things, but it really helps bring it home if I can understand how others have done it and what kind of results they're seeing.
Absolutely, yeah. So basically, I'll take examples from different geos just to emphasize the problem statement can be different, right? So, for example, from North America itself, is a heavy equipment manufacturer whom we advised on the strategic supply chain, and their desire was to kind of get something closer to home, and they had pretty heavy dependence on China, right? So from that perspective, when the tariffs changed, so their profitability went for a toss, right? So
Oh,
that time
wow.
they wanted to not only avoid that tariff, but also have something closer home so that they can have a more control on the logistics and other things. But when we studied the whole thing, we gave them multiple options from North America itself, Latin America side, and also from other geos. And based on that, we recommended a 30-70 strategy to them, that nearly 30% of their volumes can come from the neighboring locations, right, and the suppliers where you have more control. But at the same time, 70% can come from other geos. So that you have the flexibility of kind of changing these dynamics as needed, so a better resilience, better adaptability and control, right? So that kind of hit well, and a lot of those suggestions which we had given are already adopted there. Another example, so I would like to take from the totally other side, Japan, and the quality consciousness from Japanese customers. So here, basically, they had set up a supply chain based in low cost geos, but at the same time, still, they wanted to relook at that, wanted to see if they had chosen the right suppliers, or can we do even better. So while in the first case, since there was a major shift happening, we were able to give them nearly 20% cost saving benefit. But here, since they already had set up in low cost geos, we were able to give between 8 to 15% cost saving benefit to them. But at the same time, despite them having a supply chain, our experts were able to bring in more value by giving them, some of the better suppliers from the similar geos, right? And also, one more example is wherein a large tier one Spanish company who has basically large stamping parts which they deliver to various OEMs. So again, for them as well, we were able to deliver nearly 18% cost saving by various natures. And here, we did not limit ourselves to just going as per spec, but we were able to recommend the type of materials which they should be using, because they are better suited. We were able to work with them to enable that change, do the initial prototyping and testing for those products to validate that whatever changes we are suggesting are fine. And with those changes, basically, we were able to get them nearly 18% cost saving, right? So multiple geos, multiple different challenges and solutions which can enable these cost savings and other benefits.
Yeah, that's quite significant when you look at getting an 8 to 20% product cost reduction with folks that probably many of them already have some low cost strategies in place. From that, I assume that you have a couple lessons learned, as well as some best practices. Can you share those with the team? I think that will now not only they can see what others have done, but now it'll give them a really good idea of things that they need to consider.
Absolutely. So, I think the foremost is basically having a holistic strategy, right, is something which plays a good part in this. Basically, if you are going with a very limited approach in terms of what you want to achieve, maybe with couple of parts or other things, so sometimes you are not able to comprehend those benefits and other things. But when we are able to combine or do the complete, for example, the spend analytics, see which commodities, which geographies it will make sense. So that is something which helps a lot in long run. Then second is basically the supplier selection process. Again, based on your volume, based on your future needs, based on your quality requirements. Unless you do that initial fit well, it again results in wasting a lot of efforts and still not achieving what you want to do. And third and most important thing I would say is not only the selection, but then having eyes on the ground in order to follow through, ensure in each step the processes are followed and you achieve the objectives in the end. So I think these three are very, very important steps, and that is something which we enable through our partner ecosystem, having 500 plus specialized suppliers across geos, having the should costing and spend analytics as a specialized offering, just to see even ahead of going through the RFP route as to what should be done. We have created our own materials and standard price libraries for various commodities. Like, for example, if there are castings or weldments and other things, basically you can even see those prices on per pound or per kg basis. How do they compare, and generally have an idea whether this will result in benefit early on. Having domain expertise, because if you go to automotive versus industrial versus oil and gas, each industry has its own unique requirements. So we have people with experience of 35, 40 years in multiple domains, which helps in understanding those requirements better. And also over time, what we have done is we have built very good frameworks and accelerators in this area, which helps go faster, time to market.
That makes sense. I want to just hit back on, it's important to have a holistic strategy. Sometimes people have a specific hot button, and while you
Yeah.
can, you can target that specific area, if you actually don't have a holistic strategy, chances are you're going to leave some money on the table.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And while it's always great to check out the supplier that a colleague or of yours has recommended, it's very important to have a very structured supplier selection process, because your particular needs, whether it's forecast flexibility, or whether it is, cost reduction over time, those needs really are going to be important. And the governance, you really touched upon that, and I agree, I can't stress it enough, is making sure that you know what's going to happen, not just day one, but day 120 and day a year from now, and then having somebody check on the ground to make sure that what you're seeing on your reports is really taking place.
Absolutely.
Ajay, I can talk to you for hours. You and I both, you've got a wealth of knowledge, and you really help folks, really focusing on the problem. I hope those that are listening, took some of that away. And if they wanted to have a better dialogue, I suggest that they really contact us at partners@infinite.com. And also stay tuned for a deeper dive that we'll be doing into the series. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Take care.
Thanks, Luis. Have a great day.